It's now time for our feature presentation. Feature.
Coming straight from your house.
Coming straight from your house.
Coming.
He's the one.
Coming.
The king of only. He's groovy and never gloopy. You can't get this from a DSN. The sensation of your screen. The show that makes you scream. Say it with them, folks. Mr. Nether's TV time.
That's right, everybody. It's day 1225 of DDN. As usual, I'm your host, Nether, here to bring you Deltarune News. However, today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Instead of just your news, today we're going to be running a full broadcast, turning this show from Daily Deltarune News to, on my cue, the Daily Deltarune Network. This is basically the biggest sort of project I've done with a lot of effort put into it, and it is very long and took forever to make, so any support would be appreciated. If you enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button so you can receive your daily Deltarune news. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Believe it or not, there's absolutely zero news today. I thought that since Toby loves to post right after me, maybe we'd get something for day 1225, but I see I was wrong. However, according to the timeline, we definitely could be getting a 2027 release, meaning within the next year a multitude of news might come out. I feel like this wait and the wait for Chapter 7 will be the most gruesome, but it will be worth it. That's going to be all for your Daily Deltarune News today. AG, over to you.
Thanks, Nether. Today we have some very interesting traffic happening. It seems like Toby from Chapter 2 has decided to once again do donuts in the middle of a very busy intersection. Traffic is the slowest it's ever been. Reports show that only one officer showed up to the scene, and upon trying to cuff the suspect, phased right through him. That being said, it might be in your best interest to avoid driving if possible, and maybe go and try and see the dog do donuts. It's pretty interesting to see how he reaches his little paws to every needed part of the car. Now let's hear from Lainey, bringing you your weather forecast for today.
Thank you very much, AG. Let's take a look at surrounding areas and how the weather will be moving throughout the day. As we all know, the weather sticks together, meaning in some areas it will be both extremely high temperature and severe thunderstorms, furthering the idea that all citizens should stay inside provided they are able to. Reports show that there is a possibility of a breakup towards the mid-afternoon, followed by a reunion with a third member, giving us a chance of stars being shown amidst the thunderstorms and sun. This, however, would be affected by the dog doing donuts, making it much harder to give an accurate reading. Citizens should wear raincoats with lots of sunscreen. The sunscreen should be applied to your raincoat, not to yourself. Regardless of all that, this has been your weather forecast for today. Nether, back to you.
Thank you, NameEXE. Coming up next, a story about the most likely secrets that will be revealed in the coming chapters. You'll want to tune in after the break. Alright, hello everyone, welcome to Deltarune's Biggest Mysteries. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be ranking different mysteries based on how likely they are to appear in Chapter 6, then in Chapter 7, or not at all. So Chapter 6 will end up being guaranteed to be solved. Not at all would obviously be at the bottom. So let's go ahead and begin. Alright, starting it off with the Night Identity. I'm going to go ahead and for Chapter 6, I'm going to put this one in very likely to be solved. And the reason why is because I don't think that it's going to be the main thing that gets solved. I definitely think that it's one of like the lesser things, honestly. Like, it's definitely going to happen because it's like, you know, oh, main villain, but also I think there's something way, way, way bigger. Alright, so I accidentally refreshed the page and it completely wiped out everything, so remade the tier list. Let's go and give this another shot. So like I was saying, I definitely think the night is going to be very likely to be solved in Chapter 6. I definitely don't think it's going to be one of the main things that the entire game is going to solve. I definitely think it's going to be a stepping stone into the sort of greater theme of the game. As for who the knight actually is, I definitely think it's one of the holidays. I think the most likely is going to be Rudy, and I know a lot of people disagree, and I was kind of a non-believer for a really long time, but a little bit later I'll kind of explain why exactly I think that's going to be the case. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second here. Okay, moving on, Des's backstory. I think this isn't going to be revealed until Chapter 7. So I'm going to put it in unlikely to be solved. It definitely could be Chapter 6, but I really don't think it's going to be solved until Chapter 7 because of how the holidays tie into the entire thing. Obviously with like the weird route in Noel and everything, and Rudy's condition and all that. I definitely think it's going to happen eventually. I definitely think it's going to happen in maybe like Chapter 7 or something. But I definitely don't think that's going to be one of the main things that Chapter 6 will be focusing on. Especially because we've barely heard about her, other than a little bit from Noel and from the coat. So that's about it. I definitely do think that she will play some kind of role, though. We're definitely going to figure out what happened to her because of, you know, Asgore, because of the Holiday family, that kind of stuff, right? She obviously is going to play a huge part. But I don't think it's going to happen in Chapter 6. I think that the necessary setup for Chapter 7 will happen in Chapter 6, which Chapter 6 will answer its own stuff, but I think there needs to be a little more setup to Des before we actually get the big reveal. Okay, next, shelter codes. I think that it's guaranteed to be solved, and the only reason why is because we literally got, like, the ones from Flowery, you know what I mean? So I think that kind of what's behind the shelter is going to be revealed in the next chapter, and then Chapter 7 will be kind of like the main save the world thing. I think that this is kind of another example of one that's definitely going to be a huge thing, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be, like, the most impactful. So I think it's going to be revealed earlier, and therefore it's going to happen in Chapter 6. I mean, technically Chapter 6 could take place anywhere. It could take place inside the bunker for all we know. Okay, next up, the Angel / the Angel's Heaven. I'm going to put this one, because keep in mind, this is for Chapter 6 first, then Chapter 7. I'm going to put this at very unlikely to be unsolved. I think that this will probably almost definitely happen during Chapter 7. I really doubt it happens during Chapter 6. As for who the angel is, I'm just gonna play it safe and say that it's the player. I know that's just a really boring, like, very simple answer, but I mean, I think it is just the most likely thing. Like, it makes perfect sense that, you know, we'd be essentially banishing me. Only other likely thing would maybe be Gaster. I can kind of picture him as like that sort of like higher being or whatever being, you know, the angel. Other than that though, I really don't know. I guess there's maybe a chance that it correlates with the prophecy, which is actually our next one, which I'm also going to actually put this one in very unlikely to be unsolved, because I also think that's going to happen during Chapter 7, maybe alongside the sort of angel reveal, or like what the Angel's Heaven is necessarily. Now, what is the last prophecy? Well, I kind of think it's going to be Rousey dying, and the only reason why is because it kind of makes sense for him to just like try and fix everything by being nice to people and whatnot. Maybe he's supposed to become like this sort of like evil character or something, or like kill a different member. I guess that's possible. But I personally, I just think that he's gonna die, and it's gonna be really sad. So you know, as much as I hope that that doesn't happen, I do think that that's probably what's going to happen. That's just my personal belief, though. So, friend. Oh boy, I don't actually know where to rank this one. This is the first one where I'm not really confident in. I don't know whether to put it in very unlikely or not going to be solved. Because the only reason why is because it's more of like an Easter egg, and I feel like it ties kind of more into the theme and with Chris than anything else. And I don't know, just like based on sort of what we've seen so far, I just don't. I think at least in Chapter 6 it's for sure not going to be solved. Maybe Chapter 7 will kind of reveal like what friend is supposed to represent. But I'm probably going to stick this in the not going to be solved because I think it's probably going to be more of like a theme element that the player themselves has to like figure out. I don't think it's going to be like told to us like how some of these other things might just get told to us. I do definitely think that Friend is a very interesting character though. I'm very curious to see kind of what Friend's supposed to represent. Okay, next up, Eggman. I also think this one's going to be in the unsolved category. I think that this one's going to be more of just like, you know, like an Easter egg, right? So I think it's going to be an extra thing. I kind of think that this is going to be the sort of Gaster of Deltarune in terms of like, you know, tons of lore surrounding him, and he'll have like some plot relevance, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be told to us outright, at least, nor, you know, it honestly might never get told to us. I really don't know. Now, what will the eggs unlock? I definitely think there's going to be either a secret boss that it unlocks, or at least some sort of, like, very, like, interesting secret. I definitely think they're going to be used for something, but I don't think it's going to be directly plot relevant. I think it's going to be something kind of just, like, you know, extra specifically, like, outside the game's bounds. Okay, next up, this is a big one. It is Gaster, who he is, his role in it, etc. I'd say for Chapter 6, I'm probably going to put this in... I might put this in... I'm gonna put it in very unlikely to be unsolved. I think that's another one that'll be answered in Chapter 7, if at all. I think it'll be solved, but definitely not in Chapter 6. I know these are kind of like misleading on like how they're named, but it's mostly based on like what's going to be revealed next, and then Chapter 7, and then not at all. So I definitely do think it'll be interesting to be able to meet Gaster finally. I'm sure it'll happen. There's no way he would just leave us on that big of a cliffhanger, right? But yeah, at the very least, I'm sure we'll get an answer for what Deltarune necessarily is. Like, you know, my Deltarune, all that kind of stuff. I definitely think we'll kind of understand that by the end, and that kind of links in with Gaster. So I think I might move it up to unlikely, but just because I'm pretty confident it'll be solved in Chapter 7, I just think it's gonna be nah, I'm just gonna leave it right here. Okay, weird route. This one's kind of a big one. Obviously, for Chapter 7, it's not... I mean, it literally is 7B, so it's not gonna happen in Chapter 6. But it will happen. It will happen then. And we might get a little bit of weird route, like, reference in Chapter 6, maybe? I don't really know exactly. But it'll for sure be answered in Chapter 7, so... I'm for sure gonna be ready for that. Keep an eye on that. I definitely think it's going to go in a weird direction. I have, again, sort of like a mini theory building, which I'll kind of talk about somewhat towards the end. And that also kind of links back to the weird route a little bit, so stay tuned for that. Okay, Twisted Sword and what it does. I'm gonna put this one at very unlikely as well. I think this is going to be another Chapter 7 thing. I definitely think that it's going to tie in with the weird route because it's, you know, a literal fatal weapon. I kind of wonder if this is going to end up being like a requirement for weird route in order to like complete it fully for Chapter 7. I think that might end up being what that is, but I am putting it at the bottom of very unlikely to be solved because I'm not entirely 100% confident in that. And while we're at it, I am going to rearrange these a little bit. This one's going to be at the very top because it's obviously going to happen. Same with the prophecy. I think that one's, you know, it's going to happen, but it's going to happen during Chapter 7, 100%. So that's why they're at the top of this, and these ones are more towards the bottom of it. Okay, shadow crystals and what they make. I think this is going to go in the either very likely or likely to be solved. I'm gonna say if we have the knight in very likely, I'm gonna say that this is probably also very likely. And reason why is because we have all of like the shadow crystals we're actually able to get. I'm pretty sure that Sham says that we can only get a max of like 5 or whatever. So I think it's very likely that in Chapter 6 we'll kind of see what they make. If not, it might happen in Chapter 7, but I really think we'll kind of figure out what it will do in Chapter 6. I think these might end up also kind of linking to the weird route, or at least like kind of exactly what the Dark Worlds are, and like something, you know, also something with the knight too, because, you know, a shadow crystal and a black shard popped off the knight's weapon, so obviously there's something about that kind of links to the shadow crystals. And if the knight identity is revealed, I think that there's a very high likelihood that the shadow crystals will show what they can do. Okay, Sky Mantle. I'm also going to be putting this in very unlikely to be solved. The only reason I'm going to say it's not likely to be solved is because I think it might end up being used on the weird route. Again, we're getting there. I'm gonna talk about that theory at the very end of this. But I think I'm gonna leave it here just because at the moment it's fully unused. Like, it's nowhere in game even. Like the Twisted Sword. Like, it's, it's a little bit more well known. It's in game. So I definitely think that's more likely than it. But I still definitely think it's possible. Spamton caller identity. I'm going to stick this one directly in the not gonna be solved. I think that this is gonna be more thematic than anything. I think we pretty much have all the info about Spamton. We haven't really heard from him at all since chapter 2 and 3, I guess. I definitely think it's interesting, and maybe by the time we complete chapter 7, we'll kind of have a good idea. But in reality, I just really don't think it's ever going to be directly solved. Rousey's fire magic. I'm gonna put this one at guaranteed to be solved. It literally only makes sense that we'll figure out why exactly Rousey has been holding back. All the chapters, like Toby has mentioned, it's all been a build up to these next few, so I'm definitely thinking that we'll kind of understand Rousey more. I almost wonder if it's something kind of like Noelle's ice shock. It's like Rousey's fire shock or whatever, which that would be really interesting if the whole idea was Rousey was essentially trying to avoid the weird route. Which I guess would make sense, right? Trying to be nice to everyone, avoiding using his powers, so maybe Noelle is kind of like the replacement of Rousey in the weird route, and Rousey was supposed to be the one where we kind of took over. It would make perfect sense. We're alone with Rousey at the beginning of chapter 1. He's tried to act nice the entire time. He essentially tried to hide his identity. His magic is very high. He has very similar magic to Noelle, except in this case, fire instead of ice. And of course, he is hiding something. So 100%, I think that this is going to be pretty much guaranteed to be solved in the next chapter. If it does take till chapter 7, I'll be a little bit surprised. I think that we'll understand by the end of chapter 6 exactly why he is hiding stuff. I 100% think so, because I think chapter 7 is going to be the big finale, basically. Rudy's fate. I think this is going to be very likely to be solved. I'm honestly probably even going to go way above the knight here. I think this is very likely to be solved in chapter 6. It makes perfect sense because, chapter 5, very beginning of chapter 5, we learned that Rudy fell down, but of course we don't know whether or not that means fallen down or, just fell off the ladder, or maybe even both. So I definitely am curious to see where that's going to go, but I definitely think that's very likely to be revealed at some point in chapter 6, especially if Noelle does become as important as she seems to be. And if Susie's trying to get her to essentially join the fun gang. But this kind of leads me into that theory that I was talking about. So, the main thing, the sort of base of my theory, is that the knight is Rudy, and the closer you are to death, the more powerful you become. And I'd also mean by powerful, I mean specifically in the dark world. Now, if this were to be the case, and I'll kind of explain my reasoning here, and I might even make a full video on this, honestly, once I gather enough evidence for it. But that would kind of hint at a potential Noelle death and Rousey death, and even bigger than that, a potential Birdly comeback for Weird Route. Rudy's been bedridden and sick for, however long. The knight appears to be extremely, extremely powerful, and they also just keep showing up absolutely everywhere. The fact that Asgore got essentially fired, it'd be a lot easier for Rudy to keep doing stuff like that if, Asgore wasn't looking into the Dark Worlds. Also, just with the fact that the holidays are so obviously doing something weird, I think it makes perfect sense that Rudy could very well be the knight, and if that were to be the case, the fact that he is essentially fallen down would actually mean the knight is extremely, extremely powerful at this moment. Also, if this was the case, it would give a purpose to the things like the Sky Mantle. If in the Snowy route, Birdly is essentially fallen down, he would be extremely powerful in the Dark World. And because of this, if he were to use his Holy Halberd, which the Sky Mantle defends 50% of the damage made by holy attacks, and it's very much linked to justice and whatnot, I definitely think it would make a lot of sense for it to be a sort of karma-based thing with Birdly. And I wonder if Susie and Birdly would potentially even work together, as the Justice Axe also has some sort of hidden ability that we have no idea what it does. It'd be very interesting to see Susie and Birdly essentially fighting with their axe-like weapons against maybe more karma-filled characters like Rousey or Chris / the player, mostly the player, maybe even Noelle. So that's sort of the basis of my theory. Again, I might even end up making this a full, theory video, if I can find enough evidence for it. If not, then just completely ignore me. But definitely gonna be something that I'm gonna be looking for. I think it would be a very interesting path to take, and I think it might be possible. So stay tuned for that potentially. Anyways, finally moving on, I'm going to do Azrael's Return next. I think that makes sense. It's been about a week. I'm gonna put him in the likely category. I definitely think we'll have to at least meet him at some point. And I think waiting all the way till chapter 7 just to reveal Chris's brother, especially if he doesn't have any plot relevance, would be interesting. I have heard a few people say that it's potentially Azrael as the knight. I really still think it's a holiday because of the horns. I really can't see it being any other way. But at the same time, it definitely could just be something to throw us off. So it's 100% not guaranteed. But yeah, that's why I'm putting him in likely to be solved. I think it makes sense that he would come back for chapter 6 and sort of be a character that helps out, the fun gang potentially. Last but not least, we have my good friend Papyrus. I don't actually know where to put him. And the only reason why is because it seems like Toby is going out of his way to not put him anywhere. I mean, each chapter he seems to be getting less and less prominent, which is interesting. I think if he were to get identity revealed, it would maybe be in Very Unlikely to be Solved, maybe even below the Sky Mantle. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put him at the top of Not Gonna Be Solved, because I just can't imagine there's absolutely zero use for Papyrus despite all the references to him, when every other main Undertale, character got their own Deltarune copy. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and look through these again. I'm gonna rearrange them real quick and sort of explain my thought process if I want to change any of these, and I will see you guys shortly. Okay, I did change around some of these a little bit. Firstly, I did move Rousey's Fire Magic to the top of Guaranteed to be Solved. I just really can't see this not going unaddressed in Chapter 6. I think we're going to understand why Rousey is keeping secrets and kind of his potential in the next chapter. I really, with the pacing, I really can't imagine we wait until Chapter 7. I think that's definitely more likely. And then I also put Rudy's fate up here too, because, I mean, there's no way we're just not going to hear about Rudy through the entire next chapter when Noelle is such a prominent part of the next one, as what it seems anyway. So I moved that one up into Guaranteed to be Solved, and I moved the bunker down into Very Likely to be Solved. I definitely think that there is a very slight chance that we wait until chapter 7 to sort of get this one. And kind of same thing with the knight here. I moved these down a little bit because I really think that there's a chance that we have to wait all the way till chapter 7 to understand those, but I also think they're more likely to happen in chapter 6, so I kind of moved these down just a little bit. I also moved Friend up into Very Unlikely to be Solved because of the chapter 5 dialogue. I kind of forgot about that. I really think that it's more likely now, with that new dialogue, that we'll kind of figure out Friend by the end of chapter 7 at the very least. So yeah, with all this, hopefully you guys enjoyed this sort of mini segment. I know it wasn't necessarily as high effort as, a couple of the other ones here, but I don't know, I just felt like doing it, and I also just wanted to share my little theory with you. So again, if in the future I'm able to, I will 100% make a full-length video about that one little theory if I can find enough evidence for it. So potentially stay tuned for that, but don't get your hopes up too much. Anyways, see you guys in the next one.
Being that this entity is absolutely, beyond any doubt, Gary.
Announcement that they had found
the Higgs boson.
Vertical position has changed. It turns out you get an odd stretching.
Welcome, everyone, to the Deltarune motif Sorry. I just realized the antagonist in this game is named Morbius. What were we talking about?
Then tell me first. Can you hear it?
Looking at milk.
Its song, singing from the deep. That is the ringing of...
Don't you think it's interesting how in the newsletter from just a couple days ago, Toby said, and I quote, "With Chapter 5, we completed the last of the necessary setup for Chapters 6 and 7. He's saying it's all here. All of the foreshadowing, all of the setup, all of the story threads that will get payoffs in the ending. We could solve Deltarune, and all it'd really take is one person who got lucky enough to tug at just the right strings, just the right way, at just the right time. Well, what if I were to tell you, I've done it. I was the one who got that luck. I managed to find that ending. The ending that Toby was so insistent was already fully foreshadowed. Hi everyone, my name's Lainey. I created the first 50 seconds or so of sound that you heard in this video, which just a small sample of is playing right now. Totally just to demonstrate specifically which part I'm referring to and not because it makes me seem really cool, as well as all of the sound for the DDN ARG on day 666. I hope you've enjoyed not only those works of mine already, but also everything else in this awesome video Nether made. But I also have a really big project I've been working diligently on, a theory video that's probably even too big. I am really proud of the conclusions I come to, though, especially given how the community consensus is already kind of catching up to me, and I don't really have that much time left before people start rediscovering the really big stuff. But there's just one little snag. The very concept of time itself. Yes, for the ending of Deltarune, but unfortunately, also for me. Despite working on it for not 50 hours, not 100 hours, not even 150 hours, and keep in mind, I'm not exaggerating, this is actually how much time I've actually spent on it, more than 300 hours over the course of the past 50 days, which by the way equates to literally a full-time job. And the fact that over 100 of those hours were spent just over the past 10 days alone. Literally 12 plus hour long days, 10 to 14 hours each day, that I started once I realized how much time itself was about to kick my booty. But I still haven't been able to get it done on time. It really is that big. It really is that thought through. It really is everything I could want in a theory of mine. My mother's very proud.
On the most video games in their lifetime. That's what he calls it, at least.
I hold the Guinness World Record for the person who's worked on the most video games in their life. My mother's very proud. The person who's worked on the most video games in their lifetime. My mother's very proud. For the person my mother's very proud. For the person who's my mother's very proud. The person who's worked my mother's very proud.
There's several problems with this one. Let's start with how the number of games he's worked on keeps.
Hi, this is Elena's real-life mom, and I'd like to say, unlike Tommy Tallarico's mom, I'm in fact very proud.
But of course, that's just the bad news. I can't leave you with only bad news, that'd be bad television. So I have two pieces of good news for you. The first good news is it's close. It's actually very close in the grand scheme of things. I'm hoping to get it ready and out there within just 3 weeks or so, but even if not, it won't be much longer than that. But as my second piece of good news, there are a couple of major parts of the video that are already done. So, to give you just a taste of the crazy sauce while you're waiting, I have one little thing to show you before I go. Mike, let's get back to the theatrics. You know what our lovely audience wants. Open up those curtains. Let's Bell Theory time!
Coming soon to own on video and DVD.
Well, with all that being said, let's wrap it up. I really hope you enjoyed the trailer. I have a couple of roles and things being shown on screen that, if you felt like volunteering for, I'd be super appreciative. My channel is also being shown on screen right now, and there will also be a link in the description. If you don't want to miss Bell Theory, then definitely subscribe. If you really enjoyed the trailer, there's an upload of it there right now, and it didn't mean a ton to me if you gave that video a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments. But I've yapped for plenty long enough. You know, though, I've heard from Little Birdie that you might find this next section very, very interesting. Smile.
Oh, my full name? It's Wing Goner. Say, you look like someone that would know a lot about DDN. Wow. Fake fan. Oh, it's Wing. Say, you look like someone that would know a lot. Then perhaps you can help Mr. Wing Goner with something. I lost a certain punch card in the day 666 Daily Deltarune News ARG when you kicked my twin brother's fucking ass and stole it from him.
Pretty sure someone else has it now. Could you look? Thanks.
Don't talk to the Royal Wing Gunner until you have my freaking punch card! Oh my gosh, golly gee. Thank you, you Deltaruner. Here's a little something for your trouble.
Just wanted to apologize in advance. My microphone quality isn't great for this section since I don't have an actual microphone for my camera, so please just bear with me, thanks. Hello everyone, welcome to the Daily Deltarune Network Cooking Channel. I'm here with my little sister today, and we're going to be making world famous papyrus spaghetti. So, let's get cooking. Obviously, here's all of the ingredients here. We're starting off with the actual spaghetti itself, of course. But then we're also gonna have the sauce here. Obviously you can make your own sauce. We're just gonna use this with maybe a little bit of spices. Same thing with the meatballs. You could make your own meatballs if you were like actually good at cooking, but I'm not. So we're just gonna use these ones. I like mushrooms in mine whenever I make it like this. It's up to you. And of course you need your pot to boil some water. Also, you know, no point making completely fresh, like from scratch ingredients when you're just gonna leave it out on a table in Snowden. So let's get cooking. Firstly, you're going to want to start by filling your pot up with water and turning the heat to high so it can start to boil, as shown here. Wow, look at this clown not loyal to the spaghetti. SMH. Make sure your water isn't like this, but rather like this. Now it's time to add in our amazing, delicious pasta. I'm sorry, Italians. Ooh, that was kind of crispy. Make sure to stir it nice and well as well throughout, periodically. In the meantime, be sure to get your meatballs ready. These ones can be put in the microwave, so I'm gonna do that. This is how many meatballs that I decided on. You know, I didn't measure how many I would need, but here on the Daily Deltarune Network, we don't care about measurements. I mean, come on. Who needs measurements in cooking? That's not important. Meanwhile, our pasta is looking so scrumptious. Mmm. By this point, the pasta should be close to complete. I had to wear oven mitts for this part because the handles on our pot got too hot and I didn't exactly want to obliterate my hands, but go ahead and strain your pasta as well as rinse it. In the meantime, while we wait for those to be fully done, we can go ahead and start putting in some of our sauce. You can always add in more later, keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and add in our pasta and get to mixing. When needed, add more sauce. And pour in some more, since it will need to simmer. Now we need to strain our mushrooms and add them in as well. Again, this step is optional, as not everyone likes it. I mean, listen to how much my sister loves them. Should we just pour them into that? Surely the sound of a mushroom connoisseur. Add in our shrimp. Mmm. Look, I promise they taste way better when they're actually in it. Okay, I'm just gonna add in the rest of this, it's fine. Be sure to recycle as well. We need to be eco-friendly here, so make sure to wash it out and then recycle it. Yep. I thought my cat's little shrimp treats were like mushrooms that we dropped. I got really scared for a second, but we're fine. We're going to add a pinch of these seasonings shown here. You're welcome to add in your own or change the amount depending on how you want it to taste. That's all big. Pepper. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Nice. Alright, with our seasonings in there, let's go ahead and mix this up as well as add our meatballs. We also added in a little more sauce because it was not saucy enough. Can you?
Make sure that the outside of your sauce can be covered in sauce so that you don't drop it on the counter.
That's my bad, guys.
Nice one.
Ignore that. That didn't happen, guys. Let's mix it up. Last step is we're just gonna let this simmer for a little bit to kind of thicken up, and then we'll be ready to serve. We are simmering. Got the bowl. I was actually supposed to upload like my daily video like a minute ago. How do you feel about that?
Yikes.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate reaction. I mean, I haven't been consistent the past like 3 weeks, it's fine. Be sure to clean up after yourself, guys. We're putting away our spaghetti and our sauce and everything that we didn't use, and we already put away the plate we used for the meatballs, so be sure to do that. All right, at this point, we have gotten to a point where it's basically done. So, I think it's time to serve. So I'll go ahead and let's cue up the montage. And that is how you make papyrus spaghetti on the Daily Deltarune Network. Ooh, hot. God. Thank you for tuning in to the Daily Deltarune Network cooking channel. If you made it this far, seriously thank you for watching to the end. I know that at least one of those segments, the pretty long one towards the beginning, wasn't exactly the most entertaining. That one was the last one that I had to work on, and like I mentioned yesterday, I didn't actually have time to fully be able to complete it within the time frame that I had set, as well as several other segments which had to be left out. Go back and visit that video if you want to learn about what I'm going to do about that, but it's time to read out some credits. So, this is not scripted, this part, so I'm just gonna basically scroll down. For the very beginning segment, all of the audio editing for that, aside from a few little sound effects here and there, was done by Lainey, as well as her segment, that was also done by her. For the cheering and the chant and whatnot, the credit goes to Geolaser, Yudi, Maxwell for Smash, Grey Apple, E for Luck, Koala6, Ready Dude, Something Cool, and Antique. All of those people were put in. There were a couple other people who were supposed to be able to be put in, but again, I didn't have the time or resources to be able to do that, and I really am sorry about that. Next, the little logo. That was made by my girlfriend, and I seriously appreciate her so much. She's just very supportive of everything that I do, and I think that she did an awesome job on it, and I really want to use it in the future, so I'll probably make it my little logo that I put in like the bottom right corner of my videos and whatnot. Let's see, for the traffic report and the weather report, the credit will be to AG and NameEXE. They offered to help me with the voice acting for it. For the game, credit will go to PB and GJ for a lot of the sprites, Yudi for some of the sprites and some of the dialogue, Maddie Party for helping with some of the sound effects, and Sarah Spalding for help with some of the code. Everything else was done by me. I put it all together, I did a lot of custom code myself, and yeah, I'm pretty proud of it, and I definitely do want to make it eventually downloadable with extra secrets for you guys to find. Also for the cooking segment, the very last segment, credit to my sister for helping me make spaghetti. I'm not a great cook, and yeah, she was just a big help during it. So, with all that being said, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I am going to probably take a break from super high effort stuff for a while. I do definitely want to make higher effort videos to kind of make up for some of the lost segments during this one. So hopefully those will be coming to you relatively soon anyway. But yep, thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, that's it. See you guys in the next one.